Thank you. I played golf yesterday. Well, running golf course yesterday. Where the playing was probably debatable. But one thing in golf is you call your own faults, right? For the most part. And so we publicize when we have a slippage, and we don't hide it. It builds trust and accountability, and we're going to work on those issues. Another thing we did is our director, Dr. Sperry here, started putting together what's called our standards of professional behavior. And it's, we got the,
On the table.
and you can't read this one back there. We have our pillars across the top, and then we have different value characteristics going on the vertical axis: respect, caring, honesty, cooperation, and responsibility. And these were developed with our unions, and they helped create the standards. And so we thought, well, the board is supposed to be a leader. Shouldn't the board also do these? What a concept. And every year after we get elected again, or re-elected, all board members will come up and sign ceremoniously on a big blown up easel that we're going to live to these standards. But again, did we? Well, I don't know. There's no measurement. So well, if we're going to measure our superintendent and our principals and our directors, why not the board take a look at itself? So okay, let's take a couple of these characteristics which work with us, and so you can see it better, I will highlight. Under our matrix of service responsibility, it says, use discretion with confidential matters, be prepared for work, friendly, helpful attitude, answer voicemails, timely, honor people, respect, listen to other thoughts and opinions, be respectful of parents, etc. Now, I don't know, but I would bet that if we did a survey like this of Congress, right, you all laugh, the scores would probably not be super high, things like respect and so forth. And Wisconsin's been a hotbed of things, and believe me, in Madison we had more things happening that makes Congress look more professional. So we put together a survey, and it's asked the basic questions. Are we well prepared for meetings? And by the way, we fixed the color, good. Of 0, 1 is never, 2 is seldom, 3 usually, 4 almost always, and 5 always. Another question we did was, do we listen actively to material being presented? And you see the scores there. Do we show respect to presenters? Again, good thing though we're never 1 or 2. Do we ask fair questions? I remember in the board meeting, we got kind of just an unfair, bombarded question that everything didn't apply there. Never. Do we treat each other with respect? Now again, this was our lowest score of all. Compared to the Congress, this is knocking it out of the park. But in reality, it should never be below like a 4.5. I mean, whether you're left or right, can't we at least do these kind of things and set an example at the board table when our kids are watching us and how we act? We run meetings in a dignified and professional manner. This is our baseline. We just started this. So now we're going to do a little workshop at some point, bring in a speaker, and as long as the speakers from 50 miles or more away will be an expert in the topic, and talk about how to do more things for building respect. And then we do the survey again come springtime. Now, the one question we have is, well, what if you have an outlying member or two? How do you do the survey then? And do we ever ask a question about individual members? We're kind of debating that. This was our starting point. Our whole thought was, if we're going to talk about having standards of behavior, let's have the board set an example. And what gets measured gets done, and not just at election time, but hopefully they'll see this. This went out to, by the way, people who watch our board meetings. Don't you can ask over there, see your head nodding. So it went out to like the director, superintendent, even the media, our attorneys who watch our meeting and correct us when we make mistakes. Anybody who we had like 39 went out and 27 I think came back, so pretty high return rate of that. So that's, I think it's the last one. That is our Janesville synopsis. We've done many, many things, but I want to highlight a couple. I guess there's no time,
Yeah.
Janet, for questions.
Yes, let's open it up to you all. What questions or comments do you have? What Janesville has really showed us is really, as we mentioned, they've been 4 years into the process, so they're pretty advanced in the process. It's just kind of the pieces are there. So what we're looking at now is really probably, I would say, the validation piece in terms of the must-haves. So there's particular must-haves that we've been training on, and so now that when Karen and I talked at the beginning of the year, this is the year to really hardwire and validate those must-haves so that we can ensure they get the consistency of results. So that's kind of where they are. Please, Dan.
First of all, I'd like to compliment you. That was just wonderful. And the transparency piece is really important. That board stuff, you know, we've been doing it a while, and it's very challenging. What if you haven't had this outlier kind of person yet? You create that culture that you want people to buy into. How often do you meet? I mean, do you start the year out? I mean, it seems to be a problem. I've been doing this for a long time, but it's still a problem to get the board to sit down and say, we're going to commit to these goals. I mean, we still do student, I still have 24 other goals over here on the side. So, I mean, how do you get around, you know, they never are satisfied with the goals that you have.
Well, one of the things that we're setting the goals. And so you have 9 people, if you have 9 crazy individuals who are giving your input, okay? But when we vote on a set of goals, we only speak as one voice. So now, Mr. Outlier, okay, you had that concern, and you made your comment, and I'm often in the minority. I'm not always winning these votes. I made your point. These are the goals. That's what we agreed upon. That's how we're measuring our district. So it kind of takes away from some of that left field, you know, criticisms.
I want to mention too, and we actually have another board member here with us today, too, Peter Stevenson Wave. So Pete may want to chime in too. But from my perspective, when I started as a superintendent and prior to that, we had a very contentious, difficult board. It was hard to handle, I thought. And I have seen the development and the change of this board over a period of time. Now, we have some board members left and came on, but I also think that this development, this practice of evidence-based leadership, which our entire board embraces, and that is important. They embrace it, and so they're willing to live it as well.
So just getting back, I mean, the final question, the time. Do you do it with your evaluation when you set the goals, or do you have a summer retreat, or do you do it in the fall, or how do you do that on an ongoing basis?
A yearly, some type of like
But it's on the agenda too. It's on the agenda of the board meeting,
Okay.
and then we also have the board retreat.
Okay, thank you.
And it doesn't mean rise agree still. We still have very different viewpoints.
Yeah.
The point is, let's do it in a way that, you know, honors these goals.
Yeah, Jamie.
Thank you, and I'd also like to applaud you on putting the board measures in. As a board member myself, I think that it's time to live it. Can you tell me who completes the survey for the board members?
We send it out to those who watch meetings at this point. So those who watch the board function, you talk about the board, how well we're doing. So people who ever watch the board meetings, those at the table, those in the audience who always come. So we identify who's always here, give them a survey, please fill it out anonymously. It was done through SurveyMonkey, and that's how we did that.
So that would include my cabinet members are always there, I'm always there, our attorney, our security person, our principals, media is always
Community
there.
members that regularly attend?
Yep, people that are always there.
Right. I mean, we probably could do a broader look at some point because we're televised. So we know there are people that are watching or looking via the internet as well. So that's probably something in the future we could do.
Great job.
And from the great state of Wisconsin, Packer fans all around.
And Karen, this is a question for you because you have the benefit of, you were in the system when this started, and now you're superintendent with this system.
Right, and I still apply for the
Yep,
job.
yep. Evidence-based leadership and all this, did this come out of a joint kind of aha with administration and board, what we're doing and currently working? Was this, you know, what was the driving force behind this, and who kind of was spearheading that this is something we need to do?
It was the previous superintendent,
Okay.
before he retired. He connected with Quint. Now, Quint actually was a teacher and he taught in our district many, many years ago, so that's just kind of a funny connection. But they knew each other. And so when our previous superintendent, Tom, went to visit Quint and went to the conference, something resonated with him. And he saw that there's something here that can work for education. And Quint had thought that all along. So Tom brought a bunch of us down to Pensacola to look. And he brought the union president, he brought board members, principals, and cabinet members. And so we all went down there, and I believe we all felt like this is something that we really think can change education. So then they all came back, and the board members and Tom talked to the rest of the board, and they embraced it on a 9-0 vote. And that was key. Again, the board had to embrace it, and then the rest is history, so to speak. So we started to learn it. My administrative team started to learn it and learn the pieces of it. But it was really that, I think that first meeting that resonated, this could really impact education.
To be another fad, it's gonna come and go, couldn't happen in my opinion. And so we just started getting into this, and to now step back again, and not continue, would have been a huge mistake. So we, looking at candidates, like Karen rose to the top, with her willingness, I could tell, to be part of this again. That's why she had my support for the job she has.
I have a quick question. On your scorecard, you have goals of increased net open enrollment. And I'm guessing there are strategies and initiatives underneath that that just didn't happen because you made it a goal. So how are you tracking and prioritizing the strategies and initiatives that you've implemented to make that goal move in the direction you want it to do? And can we drill down on your website to find some of that?
Well, first of all, what you don't see from this dashboard, and I don't know if we'll get into the LEM, the Leadership Evaluation Measurement Tool. I have a LEM, all of the administrators have LEMs, and the goals are weighted. So goals are weighted different percentages, and that helps me focus my attention on what's most important in the district, which is quality for us. The student achievement goal, and I think mine is 50% out of 100. So most of my time is spent on that, and then the rest is divided up. So you really can't see that on the dashboard. As far as the strategies, tools, and tactics that we use to raise open enrollment, that isn't documented on our website. I'd be happy to talk to you about it. We had that goal, and we actually had another broader goal last year, and that is increasing enrollment throughout the whole district, not just open enrollment. And that was really interesting and challenging to me because I couldn't imagine how we could possibly do that. That would mean people moving into our district and getting attention nationwide. And so I worked very closely actually with Brett, with marketing and public relations. We have a whole social media toolkit that we're developing that I think has made an incredible difference, and I can show you the statistics in regard to that as well.
So one thing, just to connect back a few minutes, now that you see an example, when Robin showed the district scorecard, it had the goals, the pillar goals, and then it had what Karen was showing you. If you can, there are goals, that's the sheet on the front page, and then the formative measures were what she was linking to, and then the question that you ask is a great one, and that is those action items that are down. So as a district, what are our major action items that we're going to have district-wide to achieve those goals? And then that translates into everyone's evaluation. So that picture, and then everybody has a different, every leader has a different task.
Can I ask one?